A good Moed Raboisai. Lidu Nishmasi Mimirosi Rusmas Mordechai. Borcha Toadi Noelim Shalom. Boirei. Pri. Hagofen. Borcha Toadi Noelim Shalom Asher Ki Shalom Sisov Tzivonu Leishev Basuko. Yosef. It's a little editing. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Yeah. I'm giving Hakaras HaTov now. Mamish Bushas V'charpas. Hakaras HaTov to the Jacobs Mishpacha who gave me this unbelievable bottle, Castel 2006. And I want to give the rest of this to my Yedid Nemon, Reb Mendi Auerbach. That's it. That's all it's like. Rabbi said 2006 doesn't come easy. Ishkoyach, first of all, to everybody that was Mesader today, the Seltzer boys, Nehemiah and Mordechai, working for weeks. I'm not joking. All the guys behind. Last night they were here until 12:30, together with Gary, Avremi, Cohen, working till close to 1 o'clock in the morning to set up the tech stuff and all this. Look at this. Just like in the base medrash. Yoshi, the artist, he might be coming in soon, or he might be coming tomorrow, I don't know. But look what he did here. Look at this mural. It's unbelievable. The detail, the different things, change things around. If you learned Yevomis with us, you'll appreciate. There's even a Nachman Seltzer Talis bag over here. So, Yishkoyach to Yoshi. And I guess we'll just start with a few nigunim. And then when we're done, we're going to have a bunch of guys in a kumzitz. Oy veso machto bechagecho veoy so achsomeya veso machto bechagecho veoy so achsomeya la 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 la. Much lower. La 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 la. Everybody, forget the music. Beso machto bechagecho veoyiso achsomeya. Beso machto bechagecho veoyiso achsomeya. La 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 la. Now, no yakim lavanu, esukas David anoi fole. Orachamon no yakim lavanu. Orachamon no yakim lavanu, esukas David anoi fole. Orachamon no yakim lavanu, esukas David anoi fole. I'm on 3. And so guys, David, I bowle. Yeah, let's have a good It's better to have guitars. No, Rachamon, no Yakim Lovonu, and so guys, David, I know bowle. And so guys, David, I know bowle. Yakim lavanu, esukas David anoi fole. Orachamon 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 yakim lavanu, esukas David Yishkoyach. Huh? Later. We gotta see. Where were you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Ready?
Wow. What? All right, we gotta do a daf. We're gonna sing afterwards. Okay. I think so. All right. Wow. Okay. If you were sitting during the first songs, you'll have the opportunity to make it up after shir. Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to continue with the shira, the zimra, the simcha, and the sukkah. I just want to say this. We know this. I just want to repeat it. The Vilna Gaon says that there are two mitzvahs in the Torah that involve one's entire body, every part of your body. First one is sukkah. Involves your entire body. The second mitzvah is Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. So here we are in a sukkah in Eretz Yisrael. It involves our entire bodies. We're kind of two mitzvahs at the same time. So we should enjoy it and benefit it, and we don't want the Americans to be jealous. We do. Yeah, we do want them. No, it's those who could come. Those who have issues, they can't come. We don't want to make them jealous. All right. The Masechta sponsor Eli Nishmas is Baruch ben Moshe Aaron and Eli Nishmas Moshe Elazar ben Natan Shalom. That's all the Chol for my children. The second Masechta sponsor Jeff Razin zchus my son is the Simcha Chaim ben Chana Refuah Shlaima Amen. The official Mitzvah Motivator sponsors the rest of the Masechta. Zchus Refuah Avraham Mנשה ben Chana Brokha Refuah Shlaima. Paras HaChodesh Eli Nishmas zechurya ben Moshe the Shom should have an aliyah. Second sponsor of the month, as a zchus Hashem should watch over me and ensure that I'm completely healthy at Me'ev Esrim. The sponsor Hayoim, I think he's a chutznik, so maybe I know he's a chutznik. Dr. Alan Rabinowitz, he's in town now, together with his son-in-law, Mayor Plonka Shveri, he writes here, Mayor Plonka is here as well. Lili Nishmas, Yerachmiel ben Moshe Yono, you should, guys, I appreciate that it's people from the shir here, not some randoms, Baruch Hashem. Tomorrow, we're going to have a little bit more of an issue because more of the chutznikim are going to be able to come. So the Americans from Yerushalayim come, so it's going to be a little bit more safuf. So we'll have to figure it out. Maybe the kids, you see these benches on the side, there's room for kids. I see some of them are sitting there today. Yishkoyach, we'll figure things out. Just want to read some of these names. These are tremendous. This gave a lot of chizuk to things that we're doing. Talking about Yoshi, the artist, Be'ezer Hashem, we're trying to bring him on as a full-time position to enhance every single shir. We're trying to bring on Remy Cohen, the tech guy who could help out in many different ways. So the money goes to good things. Like I said, last year we spent $1 million. This year we're probably going to spend more. So the money is going to great things. Yosef Konigsberg, $57 a month. Zev Ritvo, 10. I Robinson, 18. I don't know how to pronounce this. Yaziel, Jaazzielm. Martinez, $46.91. Michal Harbiter, where is he? Is he in the house? $54. He's here? Efo. I saw him by Shachris, I think. Yeah. Simeon Shiger, 18. Bruce Kessler, 200. Boris Badalov, 18. Ben Landy, 150. Yeshua Ludmir, 1333. Carrier Nosowitz, 18. Yitzchok Hachman, 26. Phil Byrne, 20. David Zeilet, 1152. David Kramer, $100. Johannes Rabatcher, 90. Jonathan Austin. Shkoyach Jonathan, 100. Jonathan Shetrit, 10. Shai Novak, 18. Paris Rappaport, 20. Rivka Klugman, 15. Barry Schleifer, 18. Shalom Mandelkorn, 18. Roman Babayev, 26. Yossi Tesler, 15. Simcha Shmuel Solomon, 20. Israel Shapiro, 120. Greg Beretta, 10. Stop. You know how long this list is? Give me another 5. Avraham Mandelbaum. Avi Mandelbaum. With all what he's going through, we had time to get on the line and donate $10. Yaakov Ilaska, 11. Andriy Jacobovitz, 180. No. I did not repeat. We already mentioned you weren't the cheer then, obviously, because Avi Mendelbaum said there's another Avi Mendelbaum that also donated $10. It wasn't him. Yonatan David Cohen 10, Ari Reiser 36, Adam Peters 25, Pinkas Akilov. I think it's like $36 a month. Baruch Wertentiel 25. How do you spell that? Wertentile 25. Mike Greenwald 18. Fine. Sandra Feinberg, is that you, David? 15. Shkoyach. So why you put your wife's name in there? Because she did it. Shkoyach. Okay. Her voice says it's a beautiful thing. It's probably my favorite yontiv. As the Vilna Gaon says, it's the hardest mitzvah Mikayim today. To be b'simcha with all the things that could go wrong, and things do go wrong. But here we are, we're in the sukkah, it's unbelievable. People, instead of going on chalamoy trips, spending time learning Torah. So, just in case you're about to go on a chalamoy trip, we're going to try to do this as quickly as possible. Daf Tzadik Zayin Amud Aleph. Keitzad Mocheres, how much could a woman who is trying to sell her late husband's nechasim so she could have food to eat, or for ksuba, Keitzad Mocheres, how much? Omer Reb Daniel Barav Katino, Omer Rav Huna Mocheres Achas L'Shneim Asochaydish. She's permitted to sell once every 12 months. Why? The concern is that if she sells a lot of stuff, a lot of assets, what if she gets married? She doesn't deserve it anymore. So, however, the one who buys the property is like a mortgage payment. He should pay up every 12 months. We don't want it to have too much in one shot. Just in case she gets married, he'll take whatever's left over and give it over to the Yisayimim. V'Rav Yehuda Amar Mecheres L'Shisha Chadashim. So Machlokes, could she sell every 12 months or every 6 months? Obviously, you don't want her selling every month, right? That'll be crazy to go out there and sell property every month. That's too much. Rav Yehuda says every 6 months. He says the same thing, that it should be a mortgage and he should hold back the money, only give her whatever she needs for 30 days. Tani Kavaz the Rav Yehuda, I love when the Gemara does this. It's word for word what we're looking for. It's not like a diuk and a brisa. It's mamish mefurish, exactly like Rav Yehuda, and exactly like Rav Huna. Tani Kavaz the Rav Yehuda mecheres l'shisha chadashim, says straight out shisha chadashim v'lekar mefanes achos shloshim yoyim. Omar Meimar, no, it doesn't say like that. Omar Meimar hilchas mecheres l'shisha chadashim only what? Oh, I did. Okay. Tani Kavaz the Rav Huna. That makes more sense. That's an order. We have a Mefurish Brisa that says literally word for word, she sells every year, once a year. That's it. And the person buying it gives her enough to sustain her for 30 days. But we have a Brisa that says, like Revuda, the halacha is, that's how we pass in Shulchan Aruch. She gets to sell once every 6 months. That's like a freebie. The Ravuna Mai. What about Ravuna who says you only sell every 12 months? What do we do with him? I never heard of him. What he meant to say is I don't hold of that. It's every 6 months. So this is a little mean. The woman goes ahead and she sells property so that she could sustain herself. She does a whole deal with the guy. Now, I'm just thinking about it now, because Donnie's sitting next to me. If you're selling in Eretz Yisrael, you can completely understand what she did here. She had a very, very, very rough time selling. So therefore, she decided to get back at the guy. What does she do? After she makes all the money off him, she goes back. Actually, all the sellers, not all, a lot of sellers do this trick here in Israel, but without a good reason. And she's saying, you know what? I need my ksuba. I didn't have a right to sell to you. The $1 million you pay me for the property I already used up on all my mezainas. Now I need ksuba. Please give me back the property I sold to you. It's really, really mean. The Gemara asks, could you do that? No, what do you guys think? What should be the halacha? No, it's not. It's evil. It's inappropriate. It's mamish. It's not in the spirit of halacha. Come by Rabbi Yosef. We have a Shiloh Rabbi Yosef. Dom Rabbi Yosef. Armalto the Zabin. If an almana sold, let's say she had to sell a property for mezainis, for ksuba. Achrayis ayasmi. Listen, she doesn't have to go out there and sell, but she needs food. She has to sustain herself. Who's responsible? The people who should have supported her. Who has to support her? The Yisaimim. So let them worry about it. So she went, made a quick deal with somebody. She made some money. And now she's going to have that person give back the property and let him deal with the Yisaimim. Ubeidina the Zab, and the same thing applies. If Bezdin go ahead and they sell for her, Achrayis ayasmi, the Yisaimim are responsible, says the Gemara. My Kivin Achrayis. Could somebody ask the people in there like to lower it down a little bit? No, not to close the door. To lower it down. It's better. Huh? I hear. Of course I hear. I hear everything, including your stuff. And you're behaving very nicely, Baruch Hashem. Leave those jokes for Jonathan. Okay. My things that we can control. By the way, because they were talking there, I missed 3 stories. Too bad. I'm not going to say them now. Kivin Dachrai, it's mebabel me. Kivin Dachrai, so yes, I'm telling you, it's a mental illness. It has a name. I forgot what it's called. My son told me what it is. Misophonia? Misophonia. That's what it is. It's one of my many illnesses, and that's one of them. But this one, it plays out barabim. So here's the shaila. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, the responsibilities of the Yisayim, the buyer could say, listen, at the end of the day, you didn't accept upon yourself, you, Almana, didn't accept upon yourself. Achrayis goes to the Yisayim. Come on, you can't come to me and pretend that you're not going to take responsibility. You have to take some responsibility. We learned when she sells nechasim, she keeps on going, and she's selling it for her mezainis. She keeps on going all the way until she has left over for her ksuva. V'semech, I saw in the art scroll, he brings a gewaldical word that I never really knew, I guess. A surety. Surety. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it? Surety, not surety. Surety. Okay, surety. She leaves herself like a semech, a surety on the side. Shetikva ksubasa min hashar. V'semech lo, shetikva ksubasa min hashar. So she keeps on selling property, but she leaves aside a little bit of a property for a ksuba. So he just points out that what's the difference? What is she selling it for? She's selling for the mezainis. Says Taisis, because for mezainis she could only sell 6 months in a row, 6 months in a shot. For her ksuba, she could get it all in one shot. He says another shot. Okay, Shema Mino, but the bottom line is Shaira in the Shaira light. You see that she has to leave herself this surety. She has to leave herself this little piece of property. But if she sells it completely, she cannot go back and say, hey, I pulled a trick on you, give me back the property. Okay, great. So everybody feels good now. She cannot pull off the shtick. Says the Gemara, don't feel so good so quickly. The Dilma eats a Taiva. They're telling her, don't sell everything, leave a little bit on the side. The Leilikr law, Hadranisa. Once you're in the art scroll, a reneger. There's a, you don't want people to say that she's, don't like we had the other day. It's not good for shidduchim. If she's a raftanis, she's a little bit of a fresser, she has an eating problem, she's high maintenance, people are not going to want to marry her here also. If she's an Indian giver or whatever the lashon is, a reneger, she gives and then she takes back. People say, listen, she's question mark. Maybe you should go out with another woman. So Mamela, we're giving her eitzah. Leave some over. You're going to need it later for your ksuba. Don't just sell it. Says Gemara, if that's the case, Imkain, listening goiva ksuboso min hashar, then the lashon of semech, this surety business, my semech law. Just say she left some on the side for ksuba, but semech means that she's leaving herself a what's another word for surety? A little bit of a guarantee, a little bit. So you see that Shmamino Shira Ein Loy Shira Loy. Fine. So at the end of the day, she cannot go chop the properties back from the people she sold it to. Ibaylu. So now we're going into Shas Katan. We're going into sugyas that Shas sugyas. Zabin v'lo yitzruch le'zuzeh. A person sells. Now this could happen to everybody. You're selling your property because you think you have a great deal coming up. You want to raise cash. Yeah? Another story Daddy knows here in our show. I'm just thinking about it. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Avrami also knows. A guy said he's selling me his house. All excited. The staff finally made a deal. He says, so give me all the money, this, that. So I sold a ton of stuff in America and shipped the money here. The minute he got the money, he said, no, I'm not selling it to you. The whole time, yeah, keep on. Where's the money? And when I finally got it to him, he said, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. The bank took it away. The nicest excuses. That's how it goes. The Yisurim of Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael needs to be Yisurim. I'll go bottom.
Some people do sell apartments. Yeah.
Obviously they do. Obviously things are selling. But you have to go through a lot of hoops. Okay. It happens. But what happens is no. Because prices go up so quickly in Eretz Yisrael, so the sellers, they feel bad selling it at the lower price. So they renege, right? You also know. It's a mentality saying, just because you sign something,
There's no such thing as a handshake.
I know people that signed and they're still giving people a very hard time. I want a little extra.
I know someone like that in America also.
There is one person in America like that. Yeah, you're right. Okay, fine. We're not gonna make this. I heard. We're just ignoring him. He's accusing me of laundering money on YouTube. Fine. Weiter. Says the Gemara. But it's a Gewaldige Shaila. A guy sells property in America because he thinks he's going to buy a house here in Eretz Yisrael, and then it falls through. Could he go back to the guy he sold the property and say, I want my property back? Now, the Rishonim speak out right away that it's obvious that he mentioned it. He said, I'm selling you a property. You're lucky. You're getting such a great deal on my property here in America because I have this deal that just came up in Eretz Yisrael. I need to raise cash very quickly. If he kept the secret himself, then there wouldn't be a question here, because we have the concept of dvarim shebelev enim dvarim. Just because he thought it and he had a deal in his mind, but he's mefarsing the deal. Yeah, you hear? What's going on over there with the texting? You hear? Great. No. The problem is I heard the texting. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You can text as much as you want. So, let me just ask you a Shiloh. Here's a very nice Shiloh. It happens here in Israel also a lot. What do you guys say?
I'm never sitting here again.
You don't know about this. What happened is, the government decided, you see that big park over there? They decided they're going to build 20 buildings on it, right? This building that I live in right now, it wasn't supposed to be built. The guys that live across the street, they had a beautiful view of the mountains. They're supposed to have an unobstructed view of the mountains. Then came, right, Rabbi Green, you live in one of those buildings. Then the government decided you could build here. Okay, so the guys in the know, they found out, they found out you're allowed to build over here. They go and they offer before there was literally sheep, I heard. I wasn't here then. They offer the shepherd $100,000 for the entire block because that's all it's worth. All he does is he has a sheep here. He knows that it's available for building. The shepherd, he's getting double that he really deserves. It's only worth $50,000 to him. He goes and he sells it. No problem. And then he finds out that the government said you're allowed to build buildings here. Now it's worth millions. What's the halacha, Rabbi Yisai? He has to give it back or not? He has to give it back. It's a mekach tos. The shepherd had no idea. Had he known that was already available, you look exactly like your father. So I have no shiloh who this guy is. Wow. Yishkoyach. Hello? Okay, so yeah, so no, that's my way of saying you should have been here at 10. He doesn't understand anyway, so you can make fun, you can do whatever you want. Ako Potem Vaifen. Now I have another shayla. Now that you know the halacha, what if a guy works in the government and he knows that they're about to be mafshir? How do you say mafshir? This karka, this land is going to be worth millions, but nobody in the world knows besides this guy. He has inside info, and he goes and he buys it off the shepherd for peanuts. You just have to know who to pay. There's a little bit of money involved. Knew what's the halacha? Over here, the halacha is he gets to keep it because in the first case, it was already a done deal and it was already worth more. He just didn't know about it. He didn't get the info, so maybe you have to give it back to the shepherd. But if it's not a done deal, it's just inside info, then he can make good money, and that's why it's a ma'aseh sheb'chol yom. Iboilu. He sold something, and at the end, Rashi says the guy backed out of the deal that he thought he needed money for. Hadrzvine, Eloi, Hadrzvine. You have to give it back. Toshma. Thou gaver the Zaben Arel Rav Papa. A Maisa. Rav Papa, we know, was very wealthy. He used to sell beer. I guess he used to take the extra money invested in real estate. He had land. So, he sold the Zaben Arel Rav Papa. He sold land to Rav Papa. He decided to sell his land so he could go buy a nice car, a truck, an ox. At the end, it didn't work out. It was sold. Rav Papa found out about this, and he said, "You know what? Because I know that you were trying to buy oxen, and it didn't work out for you, and that's the only reason. Here's your property back. So what do you see from here? You see that if it doesn't work out, you give the money back. Not mamish the same inyan, but it's zchus. So, and I said this story, but we've got to say the story again in the sukkah. Reb Shimshon Aaron Plonka, who was the Rebbe of Reb Eli, Reb Rosner, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Reb Fisher, all these poskim, he was the Rebbe. So the Maisa, famous Maisa, we've got to say it in the sukkah. He was walking on Sukkot and he heard a woman and a kid crying. So he asked him, what's going on? And the woman explained that her daughter was playing with the father's esrog and broke the pittim. The problem is, it's not her father. It's her stepfather. She remarried, it's her stepfather. The guy's going to come home and destroy this kid. They're shaking. So Reb Plonka, without even thinking, he said, here's my esrog, and tell your husband when he comes home, say the Rav came by, and he checked the esrog, and he said the esrog is puzzle. So Mela, he had a reserve, take this esrog. And then, he did it so quickly that he forgot that he himself didn't shake esrog that day. He never made a bracha on his own esrog. So he met the guy in shul, and he says, do me a favor, give me that esrog, I'm a ton of manas lahachzer. And that's how he was yayt to the mitzvah that day. Okay? It's Yom Rishon, yeah, even in Yom Rishon. By the way, like the story I said yesterday, I thought about it today in the bathroom, and I had a more take a shot. Not mamish in the bathroom. you don't know what it is. Oh, where it was? No, it's time to get your attention. So, yesterday I said a Maisa from the Magen Avraham. A guy bought an esrog. He saved up money for a very long time in Europe. If you weren't here last night, and amen. A guy bought an esrog in Europe, and he waited on it and the whole thing, and then the city next door, the little village, sent him a letter, said, we don't have an esrog, can you please send us the esrog? The Magen Avraham paskin that he doesn't have a choice, he has to send him the esrog. I thought it was a little mean, a little out there. And then today I was thinking, very, very pashut. If we thought about it in terms of, no, I explained yesterday that we're all in it for the same reason, and it's arvos. But think, very, very simple mashal. If we're in a war, chas v'shalom, we're in the army, yeah? And a guy, he says to himself, this is my machine gun. I'm going to use this machine gun for myself. I mean, he goes by himself and he starts fighting. Or no, there's a whole what's it called? Brigade, a whole platoon. They need the machine gun. Who do you give it to? It's for our war. We're going, this is how we're serving Hashem. Okay, fine. I thought maybe that would help. Maybe it made it worse. That's what happens when you think about it in the bathroom. Okay. Weiter. Says the Gemara. Oh, when my pitten fell. That's the mice you're talking about. So, no, I was in shul and I had the most beautiful esrig. Not as beautiful as the one I got in Chicago, but a beautiful esrig. And as I was putting it away, I knocked it and my pitten broke. So, on the spot, it just hit me because in the sukkah, there's a whole story similar. I said, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz, and I bit into the esrog. Because there's a story in the Gemara where a Tana ate his esrog because he showed that you don't have to have pre-tam, whatever. Fine. It wasn't funny, but everybody remembers it. It was disgusting. And no, I did not make a leisha b'sukkah then either. It was really, really, really bad. You don't make a bracha on something like that. It was just a peel.
It was a mistake because you could have used it for the rest of the Columbine.
I could still use it with the bite.
No.
I used it with the bite. No, I had another one. Says the Gemara.
No, that really happened. That happened. I saw my own eyes.
Yeah.
That's a so true one.
You ask me questions.
Is somebody there? Who's? Okay, whatever. I didn't say. I have to say Baruch Shas Lineis B'Makam Hazeh on Erev Sukkot in Chicago. I have a picture right behind you on the printer. It's not B'Makam Hazeh, B'Chag Hazeh. Mamish, for me, a Neis Nigla. It was, I'll say the mice over again because it's kedai to say it again. I did not have a lulav and esrog in Chicago. And I said, okay, after I give shir, I'm going to go get a lulav and esrog. And we're talking about Erev Yantav. The problem is I had to give 2 shirim that day because in Eretz Yisrael, they only keep 1 day and I had to give an extra shir. So it's getting really late. So after shir in Chicago, I get up and I go to this place called the Esrog Center, right across the street from Shul. I walk in, I said, where are the esrogim? So the woman selling there, she goes, there's 0 esrog, you understand? 0, not even a puzzle esrog, nothing. She says, we have lulavim and adasim. I said, oh, great. At least I'll shake a lulav without anything else. So I started looking for lulav and adasim, and I get it. And I'm about to pay. Some maisa shahaya. A guy comes into the store with a box, and he says, I want to give back this esrog. So, oh, you got it. Yishkoyach. Here it is. Thank you very much, Tomer. Here it is. This is the place that I went to. Esrog said, this is Yoel, our CEO. I took him for Slurpees afterwards. We used to do this. We used to raise this. Akoponim. I go in there. She says, oh, sir, he just returned an esrog. Maybe you want to take a look at it. I take a look at it. First of all, it's the chazanish. I always use chazanish, besides this year, which I used the different one. But chazanish. I take a look. It doesn't have a blettel. It doesn't have a dot. It looked beautiful. It was, I want to say, probably the nicest esrog I ever had in my life. And then I ask her, this is to top it all off, this is what the guy gave back. I didn't know what he kept for himself. This is what he gave back. And then I say, how much is this? She says, $40. I almost fell out. It was literally a nace niggle. For me, it was a nace niggle. She had 0. What? Yeah, exactly. Zelianovi, I returned it. And fine. Unbelievable. Huh? I have no idea. Says the Gemara. Toshma. Dahu batsurto dahav min ardo. There was a famine in Ardo. We also have famines here in Eretz Yisrael, like before Yontif. You can't get eggs. There's chicken. Benny, there's famine here. I just saw Tomer. When we had a shortage of eggs, there's no eggs there for Pesach. So Tomer bought me as a gift for Pesach a tray of eggs. That was like the best gift you could ever get. A whole tray of eggs. You know what you can do with a tray of eggs? Okay, fine. Listen to this. It was so bad. The matzah was so bad. Everybody sold off their houses. Selling their houses. Just to eat. L'soif asuchite. Oh, I hate when that happens. I sell my house, and right after I sell the house, the wheat shows up. Wow, what a bummer. If it would have came like a day earlier, I didn't have to sell my house. So it's mamish a mekachtos, right? Omer Rav Nachman dinu dahadri apadne lemarayu. Everybody understands that I sold my house to get a little wheat, and the wheat is here. So now I'll give it back. Says the Gemara, there's no riot from this case. You know why? The whole thing to begin with was a mistake. There was a little bit of a current, there was a little bit of a problem for the ships to travel. So they went closer to shore and they slowed down. Whatever the thing is, the bottom line is the wheat was on the ship and was very close by. It just had to take some time to get her. Had anybody known at the time of the sale where the ship is and that the ship is loaded, everybody thought to themselves, there's no food, period. Right? If you know that the eggs are in the truck, they're just 5 miles away, you're not going to go crazy. It's coming any minute. So that's mamish mekachtos. However, in our case, it's different. It says the Gemara Hachi, and Rashi says this is like, it's not a question, not Hachi, if so, if so, now we understand, now we can understand. Now what? This is what Rav Nachman said, that if you don't let this go through, the sale, nobody's going to sell their properties. And on that they told him, what? Is there always a famine? In Batzuta ben Ardo, Mishkach Shchicha. So what do we see from here? Like this. First of all, we say that it's Shchiach. There's always a famine. So what we have to say is that the food, this wheat, was already on the ship. Why? Because what's not Shchiach, what's very uncommon is that right over here in Arda, there's nothing to eat, and the village next door, there's plenty of food. You can't say that. That's loy shchiach. So we're talking about shchiach. It's very common. What's very common? Shkoyach Zevi. Wow, Mamish helping you out over here. What's very common? What's very common is that the food is on the ship already, it just didn't show up. So maybe everything makes sense. Says the Mishnah, the official Mishnah. Oh, really? The halacha is that if you sell something and then it turns out you don't need the money, you liquidated your property for no reason, you could take back the sale. Now, let me just show you this because I did it. Why not? So we have here, it's a Tosfos. I'm just going to tell you the Tosfos about Peh. Tosfos says there's 3 categories. You can look in Tosfos. There's a famous case where a guy sells all his stuff because he's moving. He's making aliyah. He's moving to Eretz Yisrael. It happened to my father. My father sold everything, including, I remember he sold his drills, his tools, his bed, everything. And then he moved to Eretz Yisrael. 2 months later, he moved back to America. Came back, he didn't have a thing. Mamish is Maisa. So if a person sells all his stuff on condition, he's saying, look, I'm moving to Eretz Yisrael, that's why I'm selling it. I'm selling it cheap. And then he doesn't go up to Eretz Yisrael. So that's a Gilu Das. So he gets his stuff back. There's another thing, says Tosfos, where it doesn't help Gilu Das. Just because people know, no, look, if you make a condition, you say, on condition that I moved to Eretz Yisrael, that's something else. But he didn't make a condition. Sorry. He didn't make a condition. It's a Gilu Das. He announced it to people. It doesn't help, says Tosfos, if you announce and then you sell the clothing off your back because you want to move to Eretz Yisrael. That's weird. So that's not going to help a Gilu Das. But then there's something, says Tosfos, a third thing called Umdina de Muchach. That's a guy who's dying. And he says, where's my son, my Bchar, where is he? And they tell him he's dead in Eretz Yisrael. He died in a different city. So he gives away his property. He says, I don't have any kids. So he gives away all his stuff. And then his son shows up, Shalom Aleichem. That's a umdina the muchach. It's a obvious obvious. He doesn't have to be megal das. It's so obvious. The only reason why he sold the stuff is because he thought he didn't have a son. So Mela, in that case, he gets it back even without being megal das. Okay, those are the three stages. If you want to see Taisis Zab. Says the Eli Mishnah, sponsored by the MDY Tillim Group, tillim.8mindaf.com. Almona Beimin Eres and Beimin Asur Mecher. How are we doing in time over here? We sing for 20 minutes. It's 11:06 already. Wow. Okay. You wish. Dream come true in the sukkah. Yishver is there? Where's Yishver? Shamroth. Mazel Tov. Happy anniversary. You started with us on Chalamoyed Sukkos. No? You make it yes or no? Yeah. Okay, good. So Mazel Tov. How many years ago is that? 2 or 3? Huh? At least 3, if not 4. It was in Menachem Ates Sukkah. We thought we had a lot of people then. We had like 20 guys. No, it was more. And that's where Gershon showed up. Gershon! You get a Mazel Tov, Gershon. Okay. Almana Beimin Eres and Beimin Nesuin. Listen, sometimes it's a Gemara, a free Gemara, sometimes it's a free omelet, whatever it takes to bring somebody in. For Gershon, I'm not going back to Shamrot. That's something else. He was there because his Adam did a Almana Beimin Eres and Beimin Nesuin Mecheres Shaloi Bebezdin. An almana who lost her husband, she wasn't even married, she was just Erisin. Beimin Asuin, Beimin Erisin, Beimin Asuin. Now, what we're dealing with over here is for ksuba purposes only. Because, as we're going to see soon, the mizainas, you can't expect a woman who deserves mizainas to go ahead and go through the loops and everything that you're required to do going through Bezin. She needs to eat today. So she's not going to go and sell in front of Bezin. We're talking about for a ksuba. If a woman gets a ksuba from Erison, she doesn't have to go to Bezdin to sell. No, it depends. If she's already married, she doesn't have to go to Bezdin. No, but if she's only Arusa, right? She got a ring, but she's not fully married. She has to go to Bezdin because the husband is not mechuyev to support her until he gets married. They're connected to each other. If she doesn't get mezainas, then she could only sell in Bezdin, says the Gemara. I understand the Tanakama. Why could she sell without Bezdin if she's married? Because of mezainas. She is able to get mezainas, so therefore she could sell even for ksuba. Arusa, why don't we say go to Bezdin? Now we just turn to the Tzaddik Zayin Amud Beis in honor of my uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman, zchus of year filled brachas Hatzlacha, and by another anonymous person as a zchus to continue being able to support Torah and finish shots with the rebel. Omar, we have 2 reasons. Mishum China, something that we discussed extensively throughout the Masechta. We want, according to Rashi, that women should be able and want to get married. If they know that they have a ksuba, it was a big deal back then, and it's easy to collect, so they'll be easier in their mind to get married. According to Tosfos, it's if she gets her ksuba, then she's wealthy, and if she's wealthy, she's good on the shidduch market. People are going to want to marry her because she has all this wealth. We don't want her to go to Bezdin because a person, that's his rotzen, the dead man, he doesn't want his wife to go ahead and worry about and be mevuyish, like we said yesterday. It's a bezayin, it's a priestess to go to Bezdin. She has to stand there from the Bezdin. He doesn't want his wife to go through that. So we made halacha, she could go and sell the nechasim without being embarrassed in front of the Bezdin. Maybe now, where is there an afkemina la halacha kibinai grusha? This is very simple. If a woman is a divorcee, just because she's divorced doesn't mean that she doesn't want to get married. Now, every woman gets married, and every woman, we have to make it easy for her. Otherwise, she's not going to want to get married. But according to the Mandoman, it says the whole cheshbon is the person doesn't want his wife to be embarrassed in Bezdin. What does he care if his divorcee is embarrassed? Adarab, he wants her to be embarrassed. The more tzar she has, the better for him. Tanan, we're going to learn on this Amud in the next Mishnah. Look, the last line in the Mishnah, it says, Ugrusha letimkor ele bebezdin. It says, Gemara Ugrusha letimkor ele bebezdin. Bishnam el-Mandoman lefisha, you know, the Moed is bazish to be bezdin. This makes a lot of sense. That a grusha has to sell in front of the bezdin. Why? Because if the reason is you don't want your wife to be embarrassed, great, she's a grusha. Grusha, but a divorcee also needs to want to get married. Says the Gemara, Mani Reb Shimoni. In our Mishnah, we have Shitas Reb Shimon. And Reb Shimon says that a rusa has to go in front of a bezdin. In other words, according to Reb Shimon, he doesn't care at all about Chaim. Well, she's going to want to get married. He doesn't care. He says an arusa should go in front of the bezdin. So he doesn't care about Chaim. Over here also he doesn't care about Chaim. Says the Gemara, Reb Shimon, you're telling me this whole thing goes according to Reb Shimon. Otanele reisha mina erusin leitimkar. Now, we're saying he already said the halacha that if she's coming to get a ksuva, you need a bezdin. So a grusha also would need a bezdin. So why does it have to say the same halacha twice? Ma'al the same almonim and erisin hudloy nofesh chen dida. Av grusha the nofesh chen dida. Emo tiboy chen. So says the Gemara, there's an nafkamina. Think about women. If you're an outsider and you see that this woman is struggling to get her ksuba, so you rationalize, you say, listen, she doesn't really deserve a ksuba. She was never with this guy, b'chlal. So she's having a hard time getting ksuba from somebody she never married. No, let her suffer. But when they look at a grusha, when they see a woman who's divorced, so Rashi uses the lashon of chibas bia. They know that they had a relationship already. So she deserves a ksuba. So why are you giving her a hard time? Says Gemara, Hanami Tanina. Kol she'in lo mezoynos. Lasui mai, lav lasui grusha. So it already says Kol she'in lo mezoynos. Now, Rashi explains, if an almana from Erusin needs a bezdin, an almana, she had nothing happened with her husband. Her husband died. She needs a bezdin, so certainly a grusha from a divorce would also need a arusa. I'm sorry. If an arusa and almana needs a bezdin, so a grusha arusa would also need a bezdin. So therefore, we have to say that we're talking about a divorcee from marriage. We don't have this kolch game. But that's already in the Seifa. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara, you're right. Now the Gemara comes up with a whole new thing. You're asking me, it's redundant. You don't need it. We already have it. What do you have to say twice? Says the Gemara, no, I'm telling you a far out case there, a new chiddush here. The chiddush goes like this. You have a grusha bein a grusha. You have a woman who the husband tossed the get to her. There were Rosh Hashanah, he tosses her a get. We don't know if the get fell 4 amas into her possession, within her 4 amas or his 4 amas. What does that make her? A Safek grusha. We don't know if she's really divorced or not. So the halacha is, a woman who's a Safek grusha gets support. Her husband has to support her. Why? Because it's because of the husband that she can't get married now. She's not on the shidduch market anymore. She might be married to him. She might not be married to him. She can't get married. So as long as she's married to this guy or besafek, he has to support her. What the Mishnah here is telling us a chiddush, that once the guy dies, she doesn't get supported anymore. The Yisraelim don't have to continue supporting her. That's all the Mishnah wants to tell us. You hear? Mamish not, it's like not in the Inyan, but it's a side chiddush that we're saying here. Again, I think this is what's bothering Taisus also, because over here it's Iker Chasim and a Sefer. It says the husband is mechuyev in the mezainis. We're trying to say a chiddush is the husband is not mechuyev, or the yisayim are not mechuyev in mezainis once the husband dies. Okay, according to Rashi, it's a continuation. Today, he's chayiv in mezainis, but once he dies, he's potter, and that's the chiddush. Toshma, kishem shemecher shloi bebezdin, kach yirshel yorshik. Menachem, you tell me when to stop. Whenever you tell me to stop, like the names, I'll stop the share, and then we'll do tomorrow whatever we have to do. Toshma. If Shara the Mishnah, wow, it's going to leave us a lot for tomorrow. Okay. Says the Gemara, nobody's mechuyev to stay for dancing. Toshma, kishem shemecher shloi bebezdin, kach yorshel yorshik subasa moichem shloi bebezdin. This is a big chiddush. This woman doesn't have to sell in bezdin if she needs money to support herself for the ksuba. But not only that, if she dies, her yarshim don't have to do it in front of bezdin. They can just sell it as is. Says the Gemara, if the whole svar is, I don't want the woman to be embarrassed, I could extend that chiddush to this bazeh, just like the husband doesn't want his wife to have his zionis. He doesn't want his stepchildren also to go to bezdin. He likes them. But if the whole svar is, we don't want women to be upset. We want the women to think in their minds that it's easy to collect a ksuba. So let's make it easy for the women. Who cares about these male guys that are having a hard time? Let them suffer. If women see that other women suffer, they're not going to want to get married. But if they see that men suffer, what do they care? All women are very happy when men suffer and it's hard for them. Gives them a lot of no. Says the Gemara to Ula, you're right. If you're going to Yirash the Bito, it's talking about a woman her yarshim are women. We don't want her daughters to think that it's a hard thing to be Yairish a ksuba, to get a ksuba. We want all women in the world to think it's easy to collect a ksuba, and therefore it'll be easy for them to get married. Let's just do the Mishnah. At least something. Machar Ksubasa, the official Mishnah sponsored by the MDY Tillim Group. Tillim.amindaf.com. Rab Schomburg, this is the first time he's leaving. He's making macha. He's going on a Chalmai trip. Where are you going to? Bnei Brak. Send regards. Whoever needs to leave the Chalmai trip, you're welcome. Machar Ksubasa. Actually, I don't think he's going on a Chalmai trip. I see him chopping some blacks over there. Machar Ksubasa Miktasa. This woman has sold her ksuba or miksas. So now we're going into a very interesting sugya of miksas. If you leave over a little bit, is it considered that you still have everything intact? Or you have to have 100% intact, and if you sell a little bit of the ksuba, it's as if you sold the whole thing. And once you sell your ksuba, once a woman collects a ksuba, she doesn't get mezainis. So what if she sells 20% of the ksuba? Does she continue getting mezainis? To the point, I thought this is fascinating. The Gemara brings a raya from a psula. If a psula is a half a psula, is it as if she's a whole psula with the kohen gadol? This halachas to all shas. It's not just money. Is some of something the whole thing or nothing? What about mishkan ksubasa? She mortgaged her ksuba or some of it. Naslik ksubasa la'acher or miksasa, she gave it away. Her ksuba lo timkas ashar el bebezdin. Now it's as if Tanakama says as if she doesn't have a ksuba, and for the rest she has to sell only in front of bezdin. No, she could sell off some of her ksuba, and she still has the right to sell the nechasim not in front of bezdin. She can do it as many times as she wants. And now it says here, because and she writes in the memo, we had some of this. She writes in the memo, why did she sell it? She sold it for mizainas. You ready, Zevi, for Gishmak and Nigan? Well, if you do benching, then everybody's going to run. Okay, fine, we'll do benching. If you look over there, I don't want to say Man No Elon Zeh, but there's a bunch of green parrots flying by. It says in Ugrusha like Timkar, Elabebezdin, this is the line that we just said. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful Chalamoid. We'll see you tomorrow. Beis Hashem will be even better and merrier tomorrow with more guests. A good Moed. Now, the Olam is invited to stay for benching.